1. We've got a real treat for you. A 1984 Cadillac Seville that's sure to turn heads and make you feel like royalty on the road. First off, let's talk about the mileage. This beauty has only 38,000 original miles on it. That's right, you heard me correctly. 38K original miles. And the seller guarantees there's no rollover, so you know it's the real deal. The condition of this Cadillac is nothing short of amazing. It's been garaged its whole life, so the original paint and interior are pristine. No accidents, no leaks, nothing. It's like stepping into a time machine back to the 80s, but with all the perks of a well-maintained classic. And speaking of maintenance, the seller has gone above and beyond to keep this car in top shape. They've got receipts dating back to the 80s, and in the last 2 to 3 years alone, they've done a ton of work. We're talking new brakes, AC lines, transmission service, OEM air shocks, a full tune-up, new steering pump, new battery, new headliner, and even a new catalytic converter. This car has been pampered like a celebrity at a spa. But the real question is, how does it drive? Well, the seller says it's an absolute dream on the highway. And with a clean title and a smog certificate ready to go, you can hit the road without any worries. Now I know what you might be thinking. A car this incredible must cost a fortune. But here's the best part. It's priced at just $14,800. For a classic Cadillac in this condition with such low mileage, that's an absolute steal. So if you're looking for a vintage ride that's been lovingly cared for and is ready to turn heads wherever you go, this 1984 Cadillac Seville is the car for you. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. Trust me, you won't find another one like it. 2. We're diving into the world of classic American luxury with this 1973 Lincoln Continental sedan. First things first, let's talk about the heart of this beast. Under the hood, you'll find a big block 460 motor that's ready to roar. And with a newer transmission, you can cruise down the highway with confidence. Now, the seller mentions that this Lincoln is in good condition, and from what I can see, it looks like a solid ride. The black paint job gives it a sleek and sophisticated look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with 89,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. The seller also notes that the tires are in good shape, which is always a plus. No one wants to deal with bald or worn-out tires, especially on a classic car like this. One thing to keep in mind is that this Lincoln is a classic ride, so it may not have all the modern conveniences we're used to. But that's part of the charm, right? Cruising down the road in a piece of American history, feeling the rumble of that big block engine. There's nothing quite like it. Now let's talk about the price. At $4,800, this 1973 Lincoln Continental is a steal. You're getting a whole lot of car for your money, and with a clean pink slip in hand, you can drive off into the sunset without any hassles. The seller seems open to questions and offers, so if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out. And the best part? No smog required. That's one less thing to worry about. Overall, if you're in the market for a fun classic ride that's sure to make a statement, this 1973 Lincoln Continental is definitely worth checking out. It may not be in perfect condition, but it's got character, style, and a whole lot of potential. So what are you waiting for? Get in touch with the seller and make this beauty yours today. 3. We've got a real blast from the past, a 1962 Oldsmobile Starfire. This classic beauty is sure to turn heads and get people talking. Now, I want to be straight with you. The seller mentions that this Starfire runs and is registered, but it does need some TLC. So if you're looking for a perfect show-ready car, this might not be the one for you. But if you're up for a little project and want a piece of American automotive history, keep listening. The odometer shows 55,000 miles, which is pretty low for a car of this age. But, as with any classic car, it's important to keep in mind that the mileage may not be entirely accurate. Still, it's a good sign that this Starfire hasn't been driven into the ground. One thing that's great about this car is that it comes with a clean title. That means you won't have to deal with any messy paperwork or legal issues when you go to register it in your name. Under the hood, you'll find a gas-powered engine, which is what you'd expect from a car of this era. And with an automatic transmission, cruising down the highway in this Starfire should be a breeze. Now let's talk about the price. At $15,000, this Oldsmobile Starfire is definitely an investment. But if you're willing to put in the work and give it the TLC it needs, you could have a real showstopper on your hands. Plus, with classic car prices on the rise, this could be a smart financial move in the long run. The seller encourages interested buyers to message for more details, which is always a good sign. It means they're open to answering questions and providing more information about the car's history and condition. Overall, if you're looking for a classic car project that's sure to turn heads and get people talking, this 1962 Oldsmobile Starfire is definitely worth considering. Just be prepared to put in some work to get it back to its former glory. But hey, that's part of the fun, right? Getting your hands dirty and bringing a piece of automotive history back to life. So, what do you think? Is this Starfire the classic car project you've been dreaming of? If so, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and start your journey towards owning a piece of American automotive history. 4. We've got a real treat for you, a 1960 Chrysler Imperial Crown. This classic beauty is a true testament to American automotive engineering and luxury. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Imperial. The seller states that it's in excellent condition, and from what I can see, it looks absolutely stunning. The gray paint job is sleek and sophisticated, and it's clear that this car has been well maintained over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful V8 engine that churns out an impressive 350 horsepower. That's a lot of power for a car from 1960, and it's sure to put a smile on your face every time you hit the gas. One of the best things about this Imperial is that it's a California car, which means it's been spared from the harsh winters and road salt that can wreak havoc on classic cars. The seller also notes that there's no rust on this beauty, which is a huge plus. The odometer shows just over 56,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. And with a clean title, you can be sure that there are no hidden issues or surprises waiting for you down the road. When it comes to driving this Imperial, you'll be happy to know that it starts right up and drives like a dream. The automatic transmission shifts smoothly, and the rear-wheel drive provides a classic driving experience that's sure to put a smile on your face. Now, let's talk about the price. At $12,000, this 1960 Chrysler Imperial Crown is definitely an investment. But when you consider the excellent condition, low mileage, and classic styling, it's clear that this is a car that's worth every penny. If you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to turn heads and provide an unforgettable driving experience, this 1960 Chrysler Imperial Crown is definitely worth considering. It's a true piece of automotive history that's been well preserved and maintained over the years. So what are you waiting for? If you've got the means and the desire to own a piece of American automotive history, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and make this Imperial yours. Trust me, you won't regret it. 5. We've got a real gem for you, a 1971 Ford Mustang Grande that's sure to make your heart race. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Mustang. The seller states that it's in excellent condition, and from what I can see, they're not exaggerating. This car has been lovingly maintained over the years, and it shows. The original paint is still in great shape, and there's no rust to be found anywhere on the body. One of the most impressive things about this Mustang is the low mileage. With only 22,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has been cherished and rarely driven. That's a huge plus for any classic car enthusiast. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. The seller notes that the car runs and drives perfectly and can easily hit 80 mph on the highway without breaking a sweat. And with new brakes, shocks, and tires, you can be sure that this Mustang is ready for anything. Inside, the car has been updated with new carpet, a new headliner, and new window seals. The radio works perfectly, and everything else is in great shape. The only downside is that the AC doesn't work, but the seller notes that it can be fixed. One of the best things about this Mustang is that it's a one-owner car with matching numbers. That means that everything on this car is original and hasn't been swapped out or replaced over the years. It's a true piece of automotive history. Now let's talk about the price. At $10,800, This 1971 Ford Mustang Grande is definitely an investment. But when you consider the excellent condition, low mileage, and one-owner status, it's clear that this is a car that's worth every penny. If you're in the market for a classic Mustang that's been well maintained and cherished over the years, this 1971 Grande is definitely worth considering. It's a car that you can drive anywhere with confidence, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller encourages interested buyers to ask any questions they may have, which is always a good sign. It means they're open and honest about the car's history and condition. Overall, if you're looking for a piece of American automotive history that's ready to hit the road and provide an unforgettable driving experience, this 1971 Ford Mustang Grande is the car for you. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a true classic. 6. We've got a real treat for you. A 1983 Chrysler Imperial that's sure to turn heads and get people talking. First off, let's talk about the rarity of this car. The Imperial was Chrysler's last big luxury car before the K-car era, and it was a real game changer. With its unique styling and high-tech features like a digital dash, it's no wonder this car was featured in movies like Sharky's Machine, Stick, Gumball Rally, and even Fast and Furious. Now the seller mentions that this Imperial is in good condition, and from what I can see, it looks absolutely stunning. The midnight blue paint job is a real head-turner, and it's rare to find an Imperial in such a cool color combo. Usually you'll see these cars in more subdued colors like green or beige. One of the most impressive things about this Imperial is the low mileage. With only 47,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has been well maintained and cherished over the years. And with a carburetor conversion done at just 1,170 miles, you can be sure that this car runs like a dream. Inside, the Mark Cross leather interior is absolutely stunning. It's clear that no expense was spared when it comes to the interior of this car. And with rare features like the Cartier Crystal Penta Star badges, this Imperial is truly one of a kind. Under the hood, you'll find a bulletproof 318 5.2L engine that's ready to go. Unlike some of the other luxury cars of the era, looking at you, Cadillac, this engine is known for its reliability and longevity. The seller notes that this Imperial has been updated with a new ignition system, starter, power antenna, and more. It's not a fully restored car, but it's clear that it's been well maintained and updated where necessary. Now, let's talk about the price. At $9,500, this 1983 Chrysler Imperial is definitely an investment. But when you consider the rarity, low mileage, and excellent condition of this car, it's clear that it's worth every penny. The seller even mentions that the last one sold on eBay for $6,800, and that was with dull paint, cloth seats, and Bondo. If you're in the market for a unique and rare luxury car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking, this 1983 Chrysler Imperial is definitely worth considering. Just be sure to include your phone number when you reach out to the seller. They're not interested in email or text responses. Overall, this Imperial is a real gem. With its stunning color combo, low mileage, and excellent condition, it's a car that any enthusiast would be proud to own. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. 7. We're taking a closer look at a 1970 Chevrolet Impala that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Now, I want to be straight with you. This Impala is not in perfect condition. The seller has listed it as fair, which means it's going to need some work to get it back to its former glory. But if you're up for a project and love classic American muscle, this could be the car for you. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 V8 engine that the seller says runs well. That's a big plus, as the engine is the heart of any classic car. However, the seller does note that the car needs a new fuel tank, brakes, tires, and a tune-up. These are all relatively minor issues that can be addressed with some time and effort. One of the great things about this Impala is that it comes with air conditioning. That's a rare find on a car from 1970, and it's sure to make those hot summer cruises a lot more enjoyable. The odometer shows 100,000 miles, which is not bad for a car that's over 50 years old. Of course, with any classic car, it's important to keep in mind that the mileage may not be entirely accurate. The blue paint job looks like it's seen better days, but that's to be expected on a car of this age. A fresh coat of paint could really make this Impala shine. Now, let's talk about the price. At $4,200, this 1970 Chevrolet Impala is a steal. Sure, it needs some work, but you're getting a classic American muscle car with a clean title for less than the price of a used Honda Civic. The seller is even offering free delivery within 75 miles, which is a nice bonus. And they're open to offers, so if you're serious about this car, it's worth reaching out to see if you can negotiate a better price. Overall, if you're looking for a classic project car that won't break the bank, this 1970 Chevrolet Impala is definitely worth considering. It's got a strong engine, air conditioning, and a clean title, all for a very reasonable price. 8. We've got a real gem for you, a 1979 Ford Thunderbird that's sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. First off, let's talk about the condition of this T-Bird. The seller has listed it as like new, and from what I can see, they're not exaggerating. The blue paint job looks absolutely stunning, and the body is clean and solid with no issues to speak of. One of the most impressive things about this Thunderbird is the incredibly low mileage. With only 21,000 miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has been cherished and rarely driven over the past 40-plus years. That's a huge plus for any classic car enthusiast. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 5.7-liter V8 engine that's ready to roar. The seller notes that the car runs nice and sounds great, which is exactly what you want to hear when you're talking about a classic American muscle car. The transmission is an automatic, which makes this T-Bird a breeze to drive, and with rear-wheel drive, you'll get that classic muscle car feel every time you hit the gas. Now, let's talk about the price. At just $3,500, this 1979 Ford Thunderbird is an absolute steal. When you consider the excellent condition, low mileage, and powerful engine, it's clear that this is a car that's worth every penny. If you're in the market for a classic American muscle car that's sure to turn heads and provide an unforgettable driving experience, this 1979 Ford Thunderbird is definitely worth considering. It's a car that you can take to shows, cruise around town in, or just admire in your garage. The seller hasn't provided a ton of details about the car's history or any recent maintenance or upgrades. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you'll have the opportunity to make this T-Bird your own and put your own personal touch on it. Overall, if you're looking for a classic car that's in excellent condition, has low mileage, and comes with a powerful V8 engine, this 1979 Ford Thunderbird is the car for you. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of American automotive history. So what are you waiting for? If you've got $3,500 burning a hole in your pocket and a love for classic muscle cars, this T-Bird is calling your name. Reach out to the seller and make this beauty yours today. 9. We're diving into the world of classic American muscle with this 1971 Plymouth Fury. Now, I want to be upfront with you. This Fury is a project car. The seller has listed it as being in fair condition, which means it's going to need some work to get it back on the road. But if you're up for a challenge and love the idea of bringing a piece of automotive history back to life, this could be the perfect car for you. The seller mentions that they use this Fury as a daily driver for a couple of months during the summer, so we know it's capable of running. However, they do note that it currently has an issue with the points or distributor, which is preventing it from starting. This is a relatively minor issue that a skilled mechanic or experienced DIYer should be able to fix without too much trouble. One of the coolest things about this Fury is the paisley pattern on the Grand Coupe model. It's a truly unique feature that sets this car apart from the rest. And if you're looking to really make this Fury stand out, the seller mentions that they were quoted $1,000 to get a new ragtop shipped from SMS, who still stocks them. Under the hood, you'll find a 360 cubic inch V8 engine that's ready to roar. This is a classic American muscle car engine that's sure to put a smile on your face every time you hit the gas. Now, it's important to note that this Fury is not in perfect condition. The seller mentions that it will need to be towed away as it's not currently running. And while they don't go into too much detail about the car's overall condition, they do say that it's still a head-turner in its current state. In fact, they can't recall a single gas stop where people weren't checking it out or commenting on it. As for the price, this 1971 Plymouth Fury is listed at just $3,000. While that may seem like a lot for a car that needs work, it's actually a pretty good deal when you consider the potential of this classic American muscle car. With a little bit of elbow grease and some TLC, this Fury could be a real showstopper. Overall, if you're looking for a project car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking, this 1971 Plymouth Fury is definitely worth considering. It's got a unique paisley pattern, a powerful V8 engine, and a price tag that won't break the bank. Just be prepared to put in some work to get it back on the road. But hey, that's part of the fun of owning a classic car, right? Getting your hands dirty and bringing a piece of automotive history back to life. 10. We've got a real treat for you, a 1962 Ford Falcon project car that's just waiting for the right person to take it to the next level. Now, I want to be upfront with you. This Falcon is not in perfect condition. The seller has listed it as being in fair condition, which means it's going to need some work to get it to where you want it to be. But if you're up for a challenge and love the idea of taking a classic car and making it your own, this could be the perfect project for you. One of the great things about this Falcon is that it's a running project car. The inline 6-cylinder engine runs, and the seller has already upgraded a number of key components, including the brakes, master cylinder, shocks, wheels, alternator, and fuel pump. They even mention that it rides pretty nice, which is a big plus for any project car. But here's where things get really interesting. The seller had originally planned to do a V8 and disc brake swap on this Falcon, and they've already got a lot of the parts needed to make that happen. We're talking a 302 V8 engine, disc brakes and spindles, 2 C4 transmissions, and a complete Ford 8-inch rear end. With all of these extra parts included in the sale, you've got everything you need to take this Falcon from a mild-mannered inline 6 to a fire-breathing V8 monster. Of course, this Falcon is still a project car, and it's going to need some work to get it to where you want it to be. But that's part of the fun of owning a classic car, right? Getting your hands dirty and making it your own. As for the price, this 1962 Ford Falcon is listed at $6,000. While that may seem like a lot for a project car, it's actually a pretty good deal when you consider all of the extra parts that are included in the sale. With the V8 engine, disc brakes, and other upgrades, you're getting a lot of value for your money. Now, the seller does mention that they're only selling this Falcon because they're moving and can't take it with them. It's clear that this was a project that they were passionate about, and it's a shame that they have to let it go. But their loss could be your gain. Overall, if you're looking for a classic project car with a ton of potential, this 1962 Ford Falcon is definitely worth considering. With its running inline 6 engine, upgraded components, and all of the extra parts needed for a V8 swap, this Falcon is just waiting for the right person to take it to the next level. 11. We've got a real gem for you, a 1966 Chevy El Camino that's sure to get your heart racing and your adrenaline pumping. First off, let's talk about the condition of this El Camino. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, and from what I can see, it looks like it's been well maintained over the years. The silver paint job is classic and timeless, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now let's get to the really exciting stuff. What's under the hood? This El Camino is packing some serious heat with a 400 cubic inch small block V8 that's been bored 0.040 over. With a 9.2.1 compression ratio, 280 Magnum cam, roller rockers, competition lifters, and dart heads, this engine is built for performance. And with a 750 CFM Edelbrock manifold and a PowerShot NOS system, you'll have plenty of power on tap whenever you need it. But this El Camino isn't just about straight-line speed. It's also got a Muncie M21 close-ratio 4-speed manual transmission and a 373 posi-traction rear end, which means it's ready to tackle the twisties and handle like a dream. And with a Hayes clutch and pressure plate, you'll have plenty of grip to put all that power down to the pavement. Other performance upgrades include a 6-quart oil pan, B&M oil cooler, electronic fuel pump, Mallory dual-point ignition, and a Flowmaster 212 exhaust system. This El Camino is built to perform, and it shows. Now it's worth noting that the odometer has rolled over, so the actual mileage is unknown. But with only 33,168 miles shown, it's clear that this El Camino has been well cared for over the years. The seller is the second owner since 1986, which is a testament to how much this car has been loved. As for the price, this 1966 Chevy El Camino is listed at $13,500. While that may seem like a lot for a classic car, it's actually a pretty good deal when you consider all of the performance upgrades and the overall condition of the vehicle. The seller is only accepting cash or wire transfer, so be prepared to have your funds in order if you're serious about making this El Camino yours. Overall, if you're looking for a classic muscle car that's been built for performance and is ready to hit the road, this 1966 Chevy El Camino is definitely worth considering. With its powerful engine, manual transmission, and Positraction rear end, this El Camino is sure to provide plenty of thrills and excitement every time you get behind the wheel. 12. We've got a real treat for you. A 1960 Ford Thunderbird that's got a story to tell and a lot of potential for the right buyer. First off, let's talk about the condition of this T-Bird. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, and from what I can see, it looks like it's been well maintained over the years. The burgundy metal flake paint job is a real head-turner, and it's clear that a lot of work has gone into making this car look its best. Now, it's worth noting that this Thunderbird has a salvage title, but before you write it off, let me explain. According to the seller, this car was part of a Florida car collection that was stored inside a storage unit. Unfortunately, the storage unit was caught in a hurricane, and the entire collection was parked in an open storage lot for about 3 years. After that time, the cars were sold as salvaged, even though no water had entered them, and they were all mechanically sound. The previous owner bought this Thunderbird about 2 years ago and brought it to New Mexico, where they had a number of repairs and upgrades done. We're talking a new distributor, wiper motor, plugs and wires, brake power booster, and refurbished brakes with new drums, linings, and hoses. They also installed a new battery, Edelbrock carb, PowerMaster alternator, and rebuilt the heater box with a new core and hoses. The transmission was inspected, flushed, and had the shift points reset to factory settings, and new turbo mufflers were installed. But the upgrades didn't stop there. The previous owner also took this T-Bird to a body shop where the rocker panels were repaired and the car was painted with the original metal flake burgundy paint. Unfortunately, when the tires were replaced, the car was lifted improperly and the passenger side rocker panel experienced some damage. But overall, this Thunderbird looks great and has a lot of potential. Now let's talk about the mileage. This T-Bird has only 51,998 original miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. It's clear that this car has been well cared for over the years and hasn't been driven into the ground. As for the price, this 1960 Ford Thunderbird is listed at $10,000. While that may seem like a lot for a car with a salvage title, it's actually a pretty good deal when you consider the low mileage, the upgrades and repairs that have been done, and the overall condition of the vehicle. Overall, if you're looking for a classic car with a unique story and a lot of potential, this 1960 Ford Thunderbird is definitely worth considering. With its low mileage, upgraded components, and stunning paint job, this car is sure to turn heads and provide plenty of enjoyment for years to come. 13. We've got a real gem for you. A 1964 Ford Galaxie 500 that's fresh out of the barn and ready for a new owner. Now, I want to be upfront with you. This Galaxie isn't a show car. The seller makes it clear that it's not perfect and that it needs a new headliner and door seals. But if you're looking for a classic car with a ton of potential and a lot of character, this could be the one for you. Let's start with the engine. This Galaxie is packing a 390 cubic inch V8 that's been paired with a C6 automatic transmission. And according to the seller, almost everything in the engine is new. We're talking electronic ignition, a power brake booster, new brake lines and brakes, new fuel lines, an electric fuel pump, and a one-wire alternator. That's a lot of upgrades that should make this car run like a dream. But the upgrades don't stop there. This Galaxy also has headers, a deep pan transmission, a rebuilt front end, and dual exhaust. And with tinted windows, it's got a cool, custom look that's sure to turn heads. Now, let's talk about the body. The seller mentions that this car has a nice patina, which is a fancy way of saying that it's got some wear and tear that adds to its character. It's not a perfect shiny show car, but that's part of the appeal. This Galaxy has been around the block a few times, and it's got the scars to prove it. As for the interior, the seller does mention that it needs a new headliner and door seals. But those are relatively minor issues that could be easily fixed by someone with a little bit of know-how and some elbow grease. Now, let's talk about the price. At $9,000, this 1964 Ford Galaxy 500 is definitely an investment. But when you consider all of the upgrades and the potential of this car, it's actually a pretty good deal. The seller is open to reasonable offers, but they're not interested in trades or shipping. So if you want this car, you'll need to be ready to come and get it yourself. Overall, if you're looking for a classic car project that's got a ton of potential and a lot of character, this 1964 Ford Galaxy 500 is definitely worth considering. With its upgraded engine, custom touches, and cool patina, this car is sure to turn heads and provide plenty of enjoyment for years to come. 14. We've got a real blast from the past for you, a 1979 Chevrolet Monte Carlo that's been cherished by the same family for years. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Monte Carlo. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, and from what I can see, it looks like it's been well maintained over the years. The fact that it's been stored under a carport since 2011 is a big plus, as it means that it's been protected from the elements and hasn't been left to rust away in a field somewhere. Now, let's talk about what makes this Monte Carlo so special. Under the hood, you'll find a V8 305 engine that's all original and stock. That means that this car hasn't been modified or messed with over the years. It's just as it was when it rolled off the assembly line back in 1979. And with only 86,000 original miles on the odometer, it's clear that this car has been driven sparingly and treated with care. The brown paint job is classic and understated, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. There's just something about the way the light catches the curves and lines of this car that's absolutely stunning. Now, the seller does mention that this Monte Carlo will need new tabs before it can be driven on the road. But that's a relatively minor issue that could be easily taken care of by the new owner. As for the price, this 1979 Chevrolet Monte Carlo is listed at $10,000 or best offer. While that may seem like a lot for a car that's over 40 years old, it's actually a pretty fair price when you consider the condition, originality, and low mileage of this vehicle. The seller is firm on the price and isn't interested in any trades, so if you want this car, you'll need to be ready to pay cash. It's also worth noting that the seller is helping to sell this car on behalf of their grandpa. That means that this Monte Carlo has been in the same family for years and has likely been treated with a lot of love and respect. It's always nice to know the history of a classic car like this, and the fact that it's been in the same family for so long is definitely a selling point. Overall, if you're looking for a classic American muscle car that's been well maintained, sparingly driven, and cherished by the same family for years, this 1979 Chevrolet Monte Carlo is definitely worth considering. With its original V8 305 engine, classic brown paint job, and low mileage, this car is sure to provide plenty of enjoyment and turn heads wherever you go. 15. We've got a real treat for you, a 1978 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 that's sure to get your heart racing and your adrenaline pumping. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Camaro. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, which is always a promising sign when you're dealing with a classic car like this. It's clear that this Camaro has been well maintained over the years, and it shows in the overall appearance and performance of the vehicle. Now let's get to the really exciting stuff. What's under the hood? This Camaro is packing a 350 cubic inch V8 engine that's ready to roar. Whether you're cruising down the highway or tearing up the track, this engine has plenty of power to get the job done. And with a clean title and only 14,000 miles on the odometer, you can be sure that this Camaro has plenty of life left in it. The blue paint job is absolutely stunning, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. There's just something about the way the light catches the curves and lines of this car that's absolutely mesmerizing. And with the classic Z28 badging and styling, there's no mistaking this Camaro for anything else on the road. Inside, you'll find a comfortable and well-appointed interior that's ready for whatever adventures you have in mind. Whether you're taking a long road trip or just cruising around town, this Camaro is sure to provide plenty of comfort and style. Now let's talk about the drivetrain. This Camaro is equipped with a smooth-shifting automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, which is the perfect combination for a classic muscle car like this. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a beginner, you'll appreciate the easy handling and responsive performance of this Camaro. As for the price, this 1978 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is listed at $7,000. While that may seem like a lot for a car that's over 40 years old, it's actually a pretty fair price when you consider the condition, performance, and overall appeal of this vehicle. These classic Camaros are becoming increasingly rare and desirable, and finding one in this condition with such low mileage is definitely a score. Overall, if you're looking for a classic American muscle car that's ready to hit the road and provide plenty of thrills and excitement, this 1978 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is definitely worth considering. With its powerful 350 engine, stunning blue paint job, and well-maintained condition, this car is sure to provide years of enjoyment and turn heads wherever you go. 16. We've got a real gem for you, a 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu sedan that's sure to turn heads and get your heart racing. First off, let's talk about the exterior of this Chevelle. The seller describes it as a beautiful sporty red, and from the pictures, I can definitely see why. The paint job looks absolutely stunning, with a deep, rich color that really pops in the sunlight. It's the kind of color that's sure to get you noticed wherever you go, whether you're cruising down the highway or parked at a car show. Now, let's move on to the interior. This Chevelle is rocking a red leather interior that looks absolutely incredible. It's the perfect complement to the exterior color, and it really ties the whole look of the car together. The seats look comfortable and well-maintained, and there's plenty of room for you and your passengers to stretch out and enjoy the ride. Under the hood, this Chevelle is packing a 327 cubic inch V8 engine that's ready to roar. These engines are known for their power and reliability, and with only 63,000 miles on the odometer, this one should have plenty of life left in it. Whether you're looking to take this car out on the track or just cruise around town, you can be sure that you'll have plenty of power at your disposal. The transmission is a 4-speed automatic, which is the perfect choice for a car like this. It provides smooth, easy shifting and helps to maximize the power of that V8 engine. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll get that classic muscle car feel every time you hit the gas. Now, the seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the overall condition of this Chevelle, but from what I can see in the pictures, it looks to be in great shape. The body looks straight and free of any major dents or dings, and the chrome trim and bumpers look shiny and well-maintained. Of course, with any classic car, there may be some minor imperfections or signs of age, but that's all part of the charm. As for the price, this 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu sedan is listed at $12,900. While that may seem like a lot for a car that's over 50 years old, it's actually a pretty fair price when you consider the overall condition, rarity, and desirability of this vehicle. These classic Chevelles are becoming increasingly hard to find, especially in this kind of condition, so if you're serious about owning one, this could be your chance. Overall, if you're looking for a classic American muscle car that's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of thrills, this 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu sedan is definitely worth considering. With its stunning red exterior, comfortable red leather interior, and powerful 327 V8 engine, this car has all the makings of a true classic. And with only 63,000 miles on the odometer, it's got plenty of life left in it for many more years of enjoyment. 17. We've got a really unique and interesting car for you, a 1966 Chevrolet Corvair that's been modified with a mid-engine V8 and a 4-speed manual transmission. Now, before we dive into the details, I want to be upfront about the condition of this Corvair. The seller has listed it as being in good condition, but they also mention that it's been sitting for a couple of years and needs a new BrakeMaster cylinder. This means that it's not currently roadworthy, and it will need some work to get it back up and running. But if you're a skilled mechanic or just love a good project car, this could be a really fun and rewarding vehicle to work on. One of the coolest things about this Corvair is the engine setup. Instead of the original rear-mounted flat-six engine, this car has been fitted with a mid-engine 350 cubic inch V8. This is a really unique and interesting modification that completely changes the character of the car. With the engine mounted in the middle, this Corvair should have excellent balance and handling, and with a V8 under the hood, it should have plenty of power to back it up. The transmission is a 4-speed manual, which is the perfect choice for a car like this. It provides a level of control and engagement that you just can't get with an automatic, and it really adds to the overall driving experience. The yellow paint job looks bright and cheerful in the pictures, and it really makes this Corvair stand out from the crowd. It's the kind of color that's sure to get you noticed wherever you go, whether you're cruising down the highway or parked at a car show. Now, the seller does mention that the odometer has rolled over, so the actual mileage of this Corvair is unknown. But with only 33,000 miles showing on the odometer, it's clear that this car hasn't been driven a ton over the years. Of course, with any classic car, there may be some hidden issues or problems that aren't immediately apparent, so it's always a good idea to have a thorough inspection done before making a purchase. As for the price, this 1966 Chevrolet Corvair is listed at $6,000. While that may seem like a lot for a car that needs some work, it's actually a pretty fair price when you consider the unique engine setup and overall potential of this vehicle. The seller mentions that the price is negotiable and that they're open to trades, so if you're serious about this car, it's definitely worth reaching out to see if you can work out a deal. 18. We've got a real classic for you, a 1970 Lincoln Continental that's been in the same family for over 20 years. Now, I want to be upfront about the condition of this Continental. The seller mentions that it has a leak in the transmission seal, and that you might need a new transmission altogether. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're considering this car, as a transmission replacement can be a costly and time-consuming repair. However, the seller also notes that the car runs and drives, so it's not completely out of commission. With that said, there are still a lot of things to love about this Continental. For starters, it's a real piece of American luxury car history. The 1970 model year was near the end of the 4th generation of the Continental, and it's a car that's known for its spacious interior, smooth ride, and classic styling. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 460 cubic inch V8 engine. These engines are known for their smooth power delivery and quiet operation, which is exactly what you want in a luxury car like this. And with only 68,000 miles on the odometer, this engine should have plenty of life left in it. The seller also mentions that the car is very clean for its age and has never been smoked in. This is a big plus, as the interior of a classic car can often be one of the most challenging parts to restore or maintain. If the interior of this Continental is as clean as the seller says, that's definitely a point in its favor. Another great thing about this car is that it comes with a lot of service records. The seller mentions that the car has been in their family for over 20 years, and that they have records available. This is really valuable information to have when you're buying a classic car, as it can give you a good idea of how well the car has been maintained over the years and what kind of repairs or maintenance it might need in the future. As for the price, this 1970 Lincoln Continental is listed at $12,900 or best offer. While this might seem like a lot for a car that needs a transmission repair, it's actually a pretty fair price for a classic Continental in this condition. These cars are becoming increasingly rare and desirable, and finding one with this kind of family history and service records is definitely a bonus. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to have a thorough inspection done before making a final decision. A qualified mechanic can give you a better idea of the overall condition of the car and help you identify any potential issues or repairs that might need to be addressed. 19. We've got a real gem for you. A 1968 Dodge Polara 4-door sedan that's been beautifully maintained and restored. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Polara. The seller has listed it as being in excellent condition, and based on the description and photos, I have to agree. This car looks absolutely stunning, inside and out. The blue paint job is deep and rich, and the chrome trim and bumpers are shiny and free of any major imperfections. Under the hood, you'll find a 318 cubic inch V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This is a great combination for a car like this, as it provides plenty of power and smooth shifting. The seller mentions that the car has received a lot of recent maintenance and upgrades, including a new carburetor, spark plugs, and plug wires, as well as a fresh oil and filter change. Moving on to the interior, this Polara looks just as good as the outside. The seller mentions that the car has a new headliner and very nice vinyl seats, which look clean and well maintained in the photos. The interior also features new headlamps, which is a nice touch. One of the things that really sets this Polara apart is the amount of recent work that's been done to it. The seller mentions that the car has new brakes all around, including a new master cylinder, shoes, and rubber lines. The gas tank sending unit and rubber seals have also been replaced, which is important for a car of this age. The seller also mentions that the car has new wheels and tires, as well as the original wheels and hubcaps. This is great news for anyone who wants to keep the car looking as original as possible, while still having the option to upgrade to a more modern look. Other nice touches include a new trunk mat and factory air conditioning, although the seller notes that the AC is not currently working. As for the history of this Polara, the seller mentions that it was originally an Arizona car, which is a big plus. Cars from dry desert climates like Arizona tend to have less rust and corrosion than cars from other parts of the country, which can be a major issue with classic cars. The odometer on this Polara reads an estimated 54,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to have a thorough inspection done to verify the condition and mileage. 20. We're checking out this interesting 1965 Ford Galaxie 500 convertible I found on Craigslist, and let me be totally honest with you, this one's definitely a project car, but it might be worth your attention at $3,000. Look, I won't sugarcoat it. The seller straight up calls it a running rust bucket, and that's pretty accurate. But here's the exciting part. After sitting for 15 years, this V8-powered classic is actually running again. The owners put in some meaningful mechanical work with a new carburetor, distributor, wires, plugs, and coil. Plus, you're getting a new convertible top with the deal, which is a pretty valuable inclusion. The Galaxie 500 was Ford's full-size flagship back in the day, and this one's got the desirable convertible body style with rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission. At 95,000 miles, the engine's apparently running strong and the transmission's shifting as it should. That's promising news for a car of this age. But let's keep it real. This car needs a lot of TLC. We're talking about serious restoration work here. The body's got rust issues, and you'll probably need to invest significant time and money to get it looking proper again. However, at $3,000, and they're open to offers, you're getting into a classic convertible for relatively little money. These Galaxies have beautiful lines when they're restored, and the bones are all here. If you're handy with tools and looking for a project car with potential, this could be your ticket into classic car ownership. Just make sure you go into it with open eyes and understand what you're getting into. It's not a weekend fix-up, it's a journey.